Hi, I'm Lara, and this is my channel Sewn by Lara, where I talk about sewing, a little bit about life, and just, random things that may come across my mind as I am talking with you. So, um, this is, interestingly enough, my 11th recording for my vlog. So, yeah, who'd have thought? Surpassed number 10 already. That's kind of amazing. Um, and when I started doing this, I was a bit unsure, but I'm getting in the rhythm now, and things are kind of going smoothly, which is kind of nice. So I've been working away. As you can tell, I'm not in my sewing room, but in my other secret place that I do sewing, aka the barracks. I am a member of the Canadian Armed Forces, and I work as a military chaplain. And some weekends I find myself at work and staying in the barracks and unable to go home, which is a few hours down the road. So while I'm here, I have my sewing machine. Actually, this camera is set up on my sewing machine, and I put it to use because I find sewing therapeutic. And there's some days that it's stressful, right? So it's a good way to kind of process stuff in a very conscious way, as opposed to just numbing oneself and then perhaps finding yourself worse because you haven't made maybe some thoughtful choices and processed some of the material that's incoming in a healthy way. So I spend a lot of my time around self-improvement and mental health from the spiritual kind of side in my career. And so you'll find that on my channel, there'll be times I'll talk about some of those things because I think we can all benefit from improving ourselves and being mindful. And sometimes the sewing community can be a really positive force for personal transformation. When I look at my career of ministry in general, and quilting communities that I belong to or sewing groups, they have all played an integral part of providing me community outside of my work that they didn't want something from me. They didn't need me to take care of them. In fact, I could find care from them, or at the very least neutrality and just a sense of belonging, which I think is very important, that we feel that we belong. Maybe not everywhere, but have a few key places where we feel that we belong. So hopefully you will feel a sense of welcome and belonging when you come and watch my videos. So on that note, moving into sewing, what have I been doing? Well, I picked up some space knit fabric that is red and purple. I know it sounds kind of weird. Red and purple makes me think of the what are they called? The red ladies, the pink ladies. That group that was created in the 2000s based on, what's her name? Alice something. And she wrote the book, When I Die, I'll Wear Purple, or When I'm 80, I'll Wear Purple, something like that. Anyways, it's got those colors in it. It's actually quite pretty the way it is done. This knit, I picked it up at, I think, Fabricland in Langford, and I was going to make a pullover sweater out of it. I can't remember which one, maybe a toaster sweater. For a little bit I was on a kick for that. So, but I didn't do it right away. And so it sat there and it was taking up space that I needed for other stuff. So I just grabbed it out of the stash when I was on leave and said, okay, you're becoming something. And what are you becoming? Speak to me. And it became Butterick 6913. Now, if you've been kind of following, you'll know I made a Butterick 6913 top out of a cotton jersey wisteria fabric that I picked up. It's a soft print. Um, and so this is the same, just made in a knit, heavy knit, as opposed, like a sweater knit, as opposed to a jersey, and it's a dress, and it is nice. It's really, really nice, and I like this pattern enough that I'm going to make another one, um, a dress, using maybe a Ponte, and see how that goes, because I want to try different weights of knits, because as we all know, that weight can really make a difference in how a garment hangs and looks on the body. So I've inserted some stills for you, to see how that looks, and it's very wearable, and hopefully it may inspire you to pick that pattern up the next time there is a sale on patterns. So the next thing that I made, this is a bit of a UFO. So UFO is an unfinished object, at least in the quilters world. And I started it in 2021, and I got so far, and I can't remember what was missing. Oh, maybe I didn't have a invisible zipper. I think that was it. I didn't have an invisible zipper, and again, with shortages still kind of happening in early 2022, I put it aside. And fast forward, throughout 2022, I lost a bit more weight. And so when I went and tried it on in the fall of 2022, I noticed, it was hanging just in some spots where it didn't look good. So I thought, okay, back you go into the closet. And so I finally was cleaning out the closet, and I came across it, and I went, all right, time to figure it out. And it's really nice fabric. I really like this red fabric, because again, it's got a nice weight. It has a nice drape. It does look good in this pattern. I just wish I maybe hadn't chosen this pattern. I got kind of stuck on the brand name of it and who designed it, as opposed to thinking about whether it really suit my figure. So I finished it, but I'm going to need to go back because it needs some fixing here and there. And by that, I mean, one, if I don't wear a bra, like, all the proportions are off, right? And even when I do wear a bra that really pulls things up, it's not quite fitting right. And so, and I'll kind of show you here, like, I don't have enough chest muscle, or the girls don't come up that high, to kind of fill out there. And that's where the princess seam kind of comes around like this, and it's kind of gaping a bit. So I need to come in and do a bit of fixing there. Again, the bodice is a bit long, and I thought I had shortened it enough, but kind of not. So you can see my menopause ring. I've got two of them now, one around the top of my hips and one kind of just above my belly button. So it emphasizes that, and I don't like it. So I am going to adapt it a little bit, and hopefully that will make it more wearable. And once I do that, if all else fails, then I will put a cardigan over it and wear it that way. Because, as I said, I do like the fabric. I think it looks okay. And what I'm really, really proud of is the invisible zipper is awesome. I did a fabulous job at inserting that invisible zipper. I have always struggled with invisible zippers ever since we had to do them in grade 9. We'd have to sew up these little samples, right, for the teacher, and I could never get it perfect, and I was always so frustrated. So it worked. It worked. And I'm trying to remember if I followed a tutorial. Maybe I went on Janome and followed one of their tutorials. But it worked, and I was so proud. But overall, I would say the dress is a bit of a fail. So probably not going to use this Lisette pattern again. So the next thing that I made, and unfortunately it's a bit of a fail, and this is again where fabric really makes a difference. So I was into Fabricland Langford, and I saw this really amazing orange stripe with kind of multicolors on it, and I'm like, wow, I really like that. That would make a really good dress. And I knew what kind of dress I wanted because I have a ready-made dress in my closet that has taken a striped fabric and cut it in different diagonals to make an interesting pattern on what is just a very simple kind of, it's like a slip dress in that you just pull it over and it hangs, and you get the kind of wow from how the fabric is positioned over the body. And so that was kind of my intent. And I picked up a pattern, and I don't have the pattern name in my notes here, but I will put it on the screen. So I picked up this pattern, and I thought, okay, I'm going to use this dress, and this is what I'll make. So the dress pattern isn't bad. It just needs some tweaking, and I'm kind of in that position of debating, do I make it again but in a heavier fabric, because I think that is problem number one. My fabric is a bit too light and a bit too stretchy. Problem number two is the top is lopsided, and by that I mean you got a diagonal that comes across like from just under the armpit and across, and that's your upper bust part. But when they did the sleeve holes, because you can have a sleeved or a sleeveless version, I made sleeveless. The sleeve hole on this side is tight and it fits quite nicely under your arm. You don't have any boob spillage or anything like that. But on this side, it's like almost at the bottom of my band of my bra, so if you can see, there's the bottom of my bra, there's my armpit, right? So that's pretty low for something to come. And I kind of didn't see that when I was laying out the pattern and looking at it and making adjustments and things like that. Yeah, that kind of didn't work well. So if I was going to redo it, I think I would scoop it up and just make it a bit tighter. I don't know how much that'll change the shape of it and impair the garment. So again, this, I think with this particular fabric that I chose, it's a fail. It looks okay. I'll probably wear this around the house. I was hoping to have a really fun, interesting looking dress to wear out in public, but maybe not. Maybe not. So the other thing that I sewed up was a skirt. So you heard me mention at the beginning, Butterick 6913. That is a really awesome pattern because it has 4 things in it that you can sew. So you've got a dress, you've got the one shoulder top, they're both one shoulder kind of tops. And then you've got a skirt, and you've got a pair of wide leg trousers, that pull on pant. And so, so far I have made 3 of those 4. And the only reason I didn't have the 4th one done was because I ran out of time. But I do have that on the list because I want to try it and see. I had used an old Simplicity pattern to make a quick pair of pull-on pants, and they're okay. They fit quite nicely, but they're maybe a bit too wide. So I want to just try this version and see if I can have, you know, maybe a little collection of pull-on pants that do the trick for me and look and look really good. So there's a bit of a story to this skirt. There's a top that goes with it, and I had been in Fabricland Duncan in the summer of, I think it was 2022. I'd have to go back and look in my Instagram feed to see. But I had picked up a remnant of this knit fabric. I think they call it Barcelona knit. And it was a white background with a red zebra print on it. And it's kind of a tomatoey red. My color's perfect. And there was only like 0.8 of a meter, maybe 0.6. It was a very small amount, but enough that I could whittle out a Pattern Emporium. I think it was a BUT. And then I took scrap fabric I had from another project to do the banding on the neck and around the arms. And I have this really great shirt. Every time I wear it, I get compliments. And I'm like, you know, this would be even more fabulous if I had a matching skirt. And I went back and I looked for it, and I didn't find the fabric. I went to the 2 local Fabriclands in Victoria and again didn't find it. And then last month, so February, I was in the Fabricland in Courtenay, and lo and behold, as I was looking at the bunkers, at stuff, you know, on the tables and stuff, I found it, and there was lots of it. And I'm like, yes! I did a little happy dance, and I said to the ladies, cut me 3 meters, please. And they did. And I took it home, and I washed it, and I promptly sewed it into a Butterick 6913 skirt. And so now I've got a skirt to match my top, and, you know, I can put a red or a white belt with it and, you know, look quite put together and stylish. A more kind of early summery kind of look, which is perfect for, you know, kind of the West Coast where you're kind of casual, but you need a little bit of a heavier layer because there's usually a bit of a chill here. We don't get much beyond, you know, the early 20s degrees Celsius in terms of temperature during the summer. So it's nice, right? I think there's only a handful of days that I wear fine lawn kind of dresses or gauze dresses because it's too hot. You know, it's more of an anomaly. So that is what I have been up to. I hope you enjoy my creations, and if you've got any questions about anything that I've made, leave a comment. I'm trying to be more diligent about answering the comments, you know, taking time once a week just to sit down and do that. So yeah, and if you've you know, made the one dress, the orange stripe dress before, and have had challenges, please let me know what you've done to conquer them, because maybe there's something that I can borrow from your learnings that will really help me. Anyways, I wish you a really lovely you know, morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you are. I hope you have a good week, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.